And matter of fact, figure it out yourself, mother skunt. And go suck your mother. Booyaka, booyaka. Yeah. Hi, hello, and welcome to the Cozy Little Book Club. Yes, good boy, boo. Good boy. I had to bribe him. He's trying to bite my finger. He thinks I have a treat. I had to bribe him. This cat has not wanted to show up for work. Like, you're part of the book club. He's licking my finger because I had treats in my hands. I had to bribe him to sit here. Like, bro, the people are asking where Boo is, and he's right here being lazy and greedy. Anyway, I'm your host, Taylor. Thanks so much for joining. And this is Boo. I feel like I need to do a reintroduction because I really just had to bribe him to be up here. I'm talking about you. Anyway, Happy New Year, y'all. I am so excited to be bringing in the new year with y'all. So before I get into the book review, I just want to say that I am proud of y'all. 2024 was tough for everyone. For maybe not everyone, but a lot of people. A lot more people than not. And so I just want to say I'm proud of you. We made it. Hallelujah. We made it to the other side. Good for us. So let's start the year off right with a very cool and very fun book review. You deserve it. And I think this book review is going to be the thing that kicks off a great year. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but I'm just saying. Today, I'm going to tell you about a story that really teeters between the spiritual world and the chaotic world that we sometimes happen to be in. The book we're reading today is, drumroll please, Brown Girl in the Ring by Nalo Hopkinson. And I actually have the book today. Bow. And actually, I do want to get into the cover a little bit. It's pretty trippy. I really enjoy the art. Nalo Hopkinson has an affinity for picking very artsy book covers, and they're all kind of like, I feel like they just have like a lot of motion in them. Like you see like things are just moving constantly. There's nothing really still here. And it kind of gives you like a little bit of a chaotic feeling, which I think is actually really relevant to the story. So anyway, this is the book we're reading, or the book I read, and the book I'm going to be telling you about, Brown Girl in the Ring by Nalo Hopkinson. I do want to say that there are a few trigger warnings as this book deals with murder, corruption, and deep spiritual unrest. I don't know if that's a trigger per se, but I just felt that I should bring that out in case some people are just not spiritual. That's okay. Just want to let y'all know that this is a deeply spiritual book with lots of ties to spirits and the underworld and all kinds of things. So things that typically cannot just be explained scientifically. So if you're not into that, then this isn't the book for you. But if you are, and if you're open to it at least, come in and join me. Get up here. Come on. Let's dance. Okay, let's get it. So the story starts off from the perspective of Taijin, a young woman who is now a new mother who is currently living with her grandmother. Her grandmother, Mami, is known as a seer woman and a spiritual healer in the community. And while Mami is the one who people come to, Taijin is also going through her own kind of spiritual evolution. She can see when people are going to die and how they're going to die. And sometimes those visions that she sees of people's fate can really confuse her. Sometimes she doesn't know what's real and what's a vision. And that's difficult for anyone to kind of deal with, but I can imagine it's even harder for someone who is a new mother. I don't have children, but I hear about just being tired and delirious as a new mom. So I can imagine that that is difficult to deal with. And then also it's like, you're not even seeing like good visions. It's just about people dying. So it's kind of intense already. You know, I love intense books. Y'all know I love an intense book. So this book is, yeah, it's that. I should also mention that this book is pretty much set in a dystopian Toronto. It's crazy. So in this reality, the rich have basically fled the city and they're no longer in the city. They're just on the outskirts. And so in the book, they actually had a really good visual aid of what that looks like. And it's kind of like a donut, right? Like a real regular donut, circle, little hole in the middle. The hole in the middle is what has imploded and where the less desirable people are. The people who don't have enough money, people who are homeless, dealing with sickness, some people who are criminals, let's be honest, and just people who just didn't have the resources to get out and flee to the suburbs of the city. So it really, I just think that was a really good visual aid as to like how you can really see how this part of Ontario has come to be. So yeah, a donut, hell is in the middle. It is a hell pit in Toronto. So the poor and the downtrodden are living in the city center where they're dealing with drugs, crime, starvation, just very little resources. It looks dirty, it smells like pee, and it's just nasty. Whereas the people who are rich and wealthy can live on the outskirts where they're safe and they have police districts and they are protected. So it really is kind of messed up. So anyway, the people in the city center are having to deal with decay and just, a lot of bad things happening and just darkness overall in the city. And with that, there was one person who emerged as the Dark Lord of the donut hole. And that person's name is Rudy. Ruthless Rudy Sheldon. They actually don't call him Ruthless Rudy, but I do because he was ruthless. Okay, he was crazy. So something else I should mention is that now that the city is full of these vagrants and nobodies, people in those kinds of environments, people can easily slip through the cracks, right? If I'm snatching people who I deem that nobody cares about, who's going to rat on me? Because nobody cares about them. So now that we have this extra power dynamic, right? So the people outside the donut hole, the rich people who have needs and are going to do whatever they need to get the things that they need, they're going to make, again, and I don't even know if it's a morally compromising thing at that point, because they probably just don't care. Because it says something about you to leave people who are in need in filth and crime and just messed up conditions. And then you're just out here living plush and posh and dandy while they're suffering. So you already kind of not on the right side of things. But anyway, the Premier of Ontario, and if you don't know what a Premier is, it's basically like the government head of an area, at least in Canada. That's all I know. So it's basically like a little bit of like, not a president, but like just like a senator of an area or province in Canada. So there is a premier who has a very weak heart, and they are looking to find a human heart for her. You already know where I'm going with this. In this reality that this book is set in, they have been using pig farms to essentially harvest pig organs for people in need. But because she's the premier and she's the top of the top, she needs a human heart. As you can imagine, looking for a human heart would be quite controversial if people knew about it. If you're just secretly on the hunt for people, no one's going to know. So again, they were using pig farms to harvest organs for anybody else, but the premier, she needs a new heart. She needs a new human heart that works. So, and obviously stealing people's organs is super bogus, but the premier is using this tactic not only to get a new heart, because she could absolutely use a pig heart, but because she's the premier and she's trying to win an election, she has another agenda for why she wants to use this human heart. But anyway, as you know, politicians don't want to do the dirty work. So what they do is they outsource. So what they did was outsource this task of finding a human heart, basically killing someone and stealing their heart, to Rudy and his ruthless task force. I wouldn't even say task force. That's like giving them too much credit. He's a crime lord. They want him to go find someone, do a little headshot. That's not funny. but a little headshot, and make sure that they can get an ambulance there to get her up for surgery. And because her heart is weakening a lot, time is of the essence. They cannot play. And the longer it takes Rudy to find this human heart, the less money he'll get. So he's on a rush, okay? But again, if you're the top of the top, you're not going to do the bidding. You might, so it's a little different. The premier uses politics and things like that. But Rudy, he uses force. So he's not going to go get the heart himself. He's going to get one of his flunkies to do it. And one of those flunkies happened to be Taijin's baby daddy and ex-boyfriend, Tony. And I'm going to tell y'all about Tony. Okay, I'm going to tell y'all about Tony. But before I rip Tony a new one, I will say that Tony was I don't want to say a victim, because he willingly started to do drugs. But when you do drugs and you're addicted to them, like actually addicted to them, you use all your money, you use all your resources. So now you're doing things to scrunch things up so you can get that next little bit of drugs, so you can get that next high, you know? And when you already kind of being, again, when you're acting out of desperation, you're not thinking clearly. You're not thinking about like concern with people who are, you know, who you're harming. You're just trying to get that fixed. And so that's how Tony got involved, because like I said, Rudy is a crime lord. He gets people on these drugs, or he sells the drugs, or both. He does both. And Tony happened to be someone who was desperate, trying to make money for him and Taijin at the time. But he got addicted to some buff, which is the drug in this book. And because he was addicted to it, he just started acting crazy and just not being rational. And so Taijin was like, I got to get up out of here. I'm about to have this baby. He didn't even know. I'm about to have this baby. I'm about to go to my grandma's house, and we're going to be protected. I don't know what Tony got going on, but I can't have my baby around no crackhead. I can't have my baby around no buff head. So, which is totally understandable. Like, girl, like, use your brain. Help your baby out. Yes, do it. Leave that man, because he don't got his priorities together. But I do empathize, because I know that drugs are tough and people deal with them, and it really latches onto you. But that's another conversation for another time. So anyway, yes, Tony was enlisted by Rudy to find this human heart, to kill someone, steal this human heart, and to deliver it to the premier so they can all get paid. Well, really, Rudy gets paid. It's honestly like pimping again, but that's another story. Everything is always connected. That's all I'm going to tell y'all. Everything is always connected. You think it's one thing? It ain't. It's all connected. So Tony's not really a tough guy. So when he is told by Rudy, like, yeah, I need you to kill someone and get their heart, he's shook. He's shook. He's scared. He's like, I don't want to do this, which is good. You know, he still has that moral compass, and he's like, I don't want to do this. So he goes to Taijin and Mami and asks for their help to help him get out of the city so that he doesn't have to kill anybody and he doesn't have to steal a heart. So he does still have a moral compass, but things just get a little wonky when Tony shows up. So Tony's now looking for help from Taijin and Mami to help him leave the city without Rudy catching him. While Tony is a little apprehensive of Mami because he thinks she's an obeah, which is a witch, he still wants her help. He still wants her help, and he really wants to see Taijin before he leaves. Honestly, he wants to convince her to go with him, but she ain't going. With lots of hesitation and Caribbean teeth sucking, Mami finally agrees. But it's only because of Taijin and the baby. If I tell you anymore, it'll give the story away. But all in all, the plan doesn't work, and it ultimately becomes a battle that Taijin has to face both internally and the things that are outside in her actual world in reality. So it's a lot going on. I would say that the themes of this book are identity, the power of tradition, the complexities of family dynamics, and the significance of spiritual practices. I would also like to say that this book is also about reclaiming your own personal power, but by way of your lineage, but still your personal power. I hope that makes sense. Now, I do want to say that this is not the first Nalo Hopkinson book I've ever read. However, it is her first novel. But what I did love about this book was the style of writing. I really enjoyed reading the patois and feeling really rooted in the Caribbean and just being amazed at how Black and brown people have transcended their language over years, land, water. It's really rooted within us, and I just really appreciated that as a reader. I really enjoyed it. And I mostly enjoyed all the like Caribbean insults, like mother scunt, or saying you like, a lot of, and there's a lot of teeth sucking in this. People say different, teeth sucking, kissing your teeth, whatever this, like that. I like that a lot. And it was just really funny just like listening to that. I wasn't listening. I read this. It was really funny reading it because when I read it, I heard it in my head because I have been around Caribbean people like that. Actually, my friend, I actually sent her lots of pictures of the words in this book. So I'm like, you said these things. so, shout out to the Caribbean. Shout out to the Caribbean. Shabbat. Boo is shook when I did that. It's just really beautiful, and it was really fun to read it out like that because I feel like I don't read a lot of books that have patois, and it's like I understand what they're saying. It's just cool. Like I think there's a section that I would like to read. Like here's an example from Mammy speaking to Taijin. You best have go see who it is, Dodo. No, sly mongoose. He's stealing the chicken. You don't see his name full of shame. I just love that. I personally love that. I think because it reminds me of Miami. I think it just makes me feel really rooted in like who I am and like my culture. It's cool. I love that. And that's pretty much one of the themes of the book. It's like really getting in tune and in touch with who you are and where you come from. So there is definitely strength in that. So I really love that. And it made me feel really good reading it. But it was beautiful and it made me laugh. And I just don't think I could be a Caribbean grandmother because I laugh too much. And I was laughing throughout when they were like, stupidness. And I'm just like, that's a good insult. Like instead of just answering something, like you just deem it as stupidness because sometimes it really do be stupid. And it's like, damn. You're right. I feel like every time I do the teeth suck, like, hold on, I gotta like do like a lip curl. Stupidness. Just imagine like a little tiny grandmother just insulting you and then talking down on you and then insulting you, but you still love her because she's gonna take care of you regardless. But she's not gonna be off your neck. That's what Taiji was dealing with. Mommy was not playing with her. You acting like a dumb girl. You get knocked up by this man. She was not playing. She ain't like Tony. But anyway, I loved reading the patois in the book. So if you are new to the Cozy Little Book Club and you haven't watched the first episode, which I talked about the parable of the sower, I will let you know that I fully love reading books about how to reclaim your power as a member of society, within that society. If you're going to be a part of a society, make sure you can be able to take care of yourself. That's what I'm a fan of. Or if you're not a part of a society, make sure you know how to take care of yourself because I'll just leave it at that. This book reminded me of that because truly, like, how dare the rich and wealthy basically, wave their hands off at the people who are less fortunate and then leave them in filth and not help them, but then demand that they give up actual parts of themselves to sacrifice for the rich and wealthy. Like, yeah, I know I think you're the scum of the earth, but I could use your heart. So if you die, like you're really being a contributing person to society, which is insane because instead of like helping these people or utilizing, I'm not saying we should kill a lot of pigs because I do care about the animals too. But I think instead of just like murdering hella people, there's a different way to do that. How dare the rich and wealthy of Toronto leave the city to rot and decay and then rob, kill, and steal their organs to help them when they weren't even trying to help those people. It's just messed up. And it's even more insane because the premier is literally, like, again, like I said, like a senator or a governor of the province. I'll say governor. The governor of their province. And they're supposed to be there to help the people. But instead, you're killing the people to try to take their organs, but then also not only take their organs, but try to make them think it's okay to harvest human organs. It's really just sick and twisted and very concerning. And very disgusting. Like, you're just a scummy person. Insanity. Suck your mother. Stupidness. So remember when I was saying, like, when people need community sometimes, or they're maybe desperate for resources or things like that, sometimes they can end up on a very questionable side of their morals, right? So if there's a gang, right? And everybody in your community is suffering, but this gang protects you. You make money with this gang. You know, you might do some messed up things. You might do some really morally compromising things. And when you're desperate, you're willing to do whatever you can to get out of that desperate situation. And this book is a perfect example of that. And I think I said that when I mentioned it for the ballerina book, I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me. It was just interesting because, I needed this community, but now I'm killing people. But some people just don't care because they need the help. So it is interesting to see, like, again, how can I get out of this situation? I have very little resources. I might not have mentors or people to, like, help steer me in the right way. This seems right to me. So when you do those kinds of things, you, again, can be in pretty morally compromising positions. If you have those kinds of morals, if you're just someone who's just trying to get by, you might not care. And I'm not saying that's okay, but I do understand, like, in just a sense of need for taking care of the things that have to be taken care of. So I'm not saying it's right, but I do understand it. So we listen and we don't judge. I'm lying. I definitely judge, but yeah. Yeah. Something else that I really did enjoy about this book is just knowing the importance of where you come from. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but it's just so important to me to know where you come from so that people, you know who you are. You know, it's like a sense of pride, yes, but also just knowing what kind of blood is flowing through you. That strength, you know, calling on your ancestors, utilizing them to help you push you forward. There's always going to be resilience. And if they keep living, that's an act of resilience and defiance in itself. So utilizing that knowledge of where you come from and the people that came before you and what they dealt with, that's something to be proud of to me. And I really think that's important. And then just, you know, also, knowledge is power. So imagine how much power you have when you have knowledge of self. Message. So maybe try asking your family about where they come from, stories, traditions. Get in the kitchen with your family when they're cooking. Learn how to make these medicinal foods and things that not only cure you, but help nourish your soul. I know that sounds like super, like, out there maybe, but I think that matters, again, to me. I'm really happy when I talk to my dad and and I'm feeling sick and he tells me about, like, a really natural remedy of what to do so I can cure myself. I feel very thankful and grateful for him for that, but also, like, this is where my family comes from. This is what they did to protect themselves. If all the pharmacies in the world stopped working and I couldn't get cough syrup, I know I can use this and that to soothe my chest and be able to sleep at night. You know, I can use these things to use as, like, an ointment or an antiseptic. It's just beautiful to be able to reach back into your roots. And also, I just can't help but say that it's also beautiful to be connected to nature with holistic remedies because you're really in tune with the earth. And I think there's really nothing better than that. But again, that's just me. So I'm just saying, like, if you have the opportunity to talk to your family about where they come from and where you come from, I think you should do it. I think it's beautiful. And you learn about yourself. And when you learn more about yourself, you're just gonna do better. It's kind of like when I was talking about another book. I know I keep referencing a lot of episodes. That means you should watch all the episodes. But when you know yourself, no one can knock you off. Again, no one can shake you because you know who you are. You are rooted in yourself. So, yeah, I appreciate that a lot. So this is really absolutely no shade to anyone watching with these types of names, but I do think I'm always a little weary of men who have traditionally women's names, like Rudy. Like, I can't imagine being punked by a man named Rudy or like Courtney. I just feel like that would be insulting to me. So I just really couldn't take Rudy seriously, even though he was really crazy. So it's like you want to take him seriously because he is crazy. And that's probably what stems from it. People was probably making fun of that boy. And he was like, you know what? I'm finna turn it up. I'm finna kill y'all. So rude boy Rudy, terrible person, terrible name. Actually, Rudy's not a terrible name, but like, he was just trash. I just didn't like him. And there were so many levels of why I didn't like him. But I don't want to give it away. Other than, the only reason I'll tell y'all now is because obviously he's a drug crime lord. So there's really not any good drug crime lords. So, like, this is a word, the title, drug crime lord. So, like, just think about that. He's terrible. He's a terrible person. And I'd be damn if I'm going to get bullied by a man named Rudy. But to be honest, both Rudy and Tony were my least favorite characters in this book. They were just desperate men trying to gain power, status, gain something, and then we're just morally bankrupt and just doing crazy things out of desperation, out of fear. All of it all stemmed from fear, ultimately. So it was just, I just didn't like them. So now it's time to flame Tony ass up because he was a bitch ass man. He was a punk. I just had no respect for him. He really pissed me off. And he increasingly pissed me off throughout this book. He was just trash. And I'm so mad because y'all didn't read the book yet. But if y'all read the book, y'all will know. But I'm just so annoyed with him because why are you this way? Like, you can't. He was just trash. He just pissed me off more in this book, more times than I can count. And he always was just into some shit. And he was always bringing some bullshit to Taijin and Mommy's door. And so, just didn't like him. Mother skunt. And what made me even more annoyed is that Taijin knew he was trouble. That's why you left him, girl. And you was just drinking the Kool-Aid because you was like, yeah, Tony, come in. You and your problems come into my house with my grandma and my baby. Like, come on. Like, no, girl. Turn it on. In the new year, we all have to turn it on. Word to Cleopatra. Turn it on. Use it. Remember this. If people show you that they are lousy, believe them. Yes, love can make you do insane things. But let's look at it as a learning lesson. You still got to use that brain, baby. Turn it on. Turn it on. Turn it on. Turn it on. Ah! You got to turn it on, for real. I'm not playing with y'all. This year, we got to lock it in. We need to be serious. So if you see something not working for you constantly, utilize that like, hey, this ain't working. Let's move forward. Let's move past it. Let's move on. Like, we have to use the context clues that we are given with, okay? Some people are set up better than others. So we got to use the resources that we can. There are examples. Turn it on. And my last thing about Tony, I just didn't respect him because he really was talking mad shit to Taijin about her grandma being a witch. But, yo, baby, scary, punk ass still came over to beg for some witchcraft and protection. How you gonna ask somebody and be like, hey, you a witch? I don't really like that. But can you help me out? Like, that's trifling. Like, if you're gonna be judgy, maybe just don't be judgy. Shut the fuck up. Just shut up and let's move forward. If you need my help, come to me. But don't come to me talking to me crazy because you don't understand something. That's insane. Stupidness. And matter of fact, figure it out yourself, mother scunt. And go suck your mother. Booyaka, booyaka. Yeah. So with that, I'm just going to say that I'm really glad that I didn't give up on Nalo Hopkinson. Because girl, she really had me confused with Sister Mine. That book had me feeling crazy, and I felt like I just kept getting lost half the time. But when I come back with that book, y'all gonna be like, oh, this is interesting. Because it is interesting. It was just very ethereal. It was a lot going on. But I'm glad I didn't give up on her because this book was really good. And so with that, I would like to give this book a solid 4 out of 5 golden bookmarks. Yes, you deserve it, Nalo girl. You better go, my Caribbean queen. This book was engaging and not at all what I expected. So for that, I'm grateful. And I hope that y'all read it and enjoy it like I did. And that wraps up another episode of the Cozy Little Book Club and the first episode of 2025. Yeah, we did that. If you made it to the end, please leave a little stack of book emoji. And if you've read the book, please let me know what you thought about it. I want to hear your thoughts. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell just so you know each time that we post a new episode each week. So thank you again for joining. I hope y'all have a lovely first day of the new year. Start your new year off with a really good book. It doesn't have to be this book, any book. And then let me know what y'all are currently reading. I want to know. And remember, when you open a book, you open your mind. Until next time, peace. Boo is so annoyed with me. I don't care though, because he didn't want to be in the video. I don't care. Y'all like my hair? It's giving like fake finger curls, but for locks. But these are actually called pin curls. And I was going to let y'all have the curls today, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it to y'all differently. So I hope y'all like it. And I'm out. Suck your mother.
Ooh, yeah.